Hey guys, what's up? Chris Collins here. I wanted to say thank you to you guys, the subscribers, for making this journey, this channel, whatever it is, what it is today. About 5 weeks ago, I got this little email that said, we need to confirm that you are who you are. You've earned this little prize thing. So I went in and confirmed that I was who I was. Not really thinking much of it. And then about 2 days ago, I was shipped something. But I want to explain really quickly that huge things can come in little packages. When I was 8 years old, I had this dream, right? This just like inner gut feeling that I was one day going to buy my own Lamborghini. And it was like this huge, crazy, far-fetched idea to the rest of the world. But to me, no matter what, I just knew, like, Chris, one day you're going to do this. One day it's going to happen. And I don't know how. It didn't matter how. It just mattered that I was going to do it, right? Well, last year, I was able to do that. I bought my first Lamborghini. I ordered it direct from Italy. And with the car came this little box, right? Like, it's this little scale model that is spec for spec in every detail what my car is. And I'm like a big kid myself, so I just thought it was like the coolest thing ever to get that. But it didn't have the same impact on me that this next box did. And let me tell you why. When I first got started with my business, which ultimately, helped me get to where I am today, I was very randomly, I guess, or deservingly, however you want to put it, selected for this magazine back here behind me. It was Success from Home magazine, and it was December 2014. December 2014's issue. And I remember I was sitting in a hotel room because I was somewhere, I think it was in like Las Vegas or something, and I was on the phone interviewing for this magazine, and they were asking me all these questions, what do you want to do, and all these different things in the future. And I remember saying I want to somehow help 10,000 people. And at the time, I just thought that was like this huge, extraordinary number, right? And it, honestly, by the time the magazine was published, I was thoroughly convinced at some point that I had helped. I just didn't know how to really track it. 10,000 people, right? And so I made this new goal in my mind. I'm going to go out and help 100,000 people. And again, at the time, it just seemed almost out of reach, but I said, I don't know how, I don't know, it's just going to happen, right? Like this whole Lamborghini thing since I was a kid. And so 5 weeks ago or so, whenever I did, I got that email, and I typed it in, not really thinking anything of it. Well, the other day, this one shows up. And I honestly had no idea really what it was until I opened it up. But I, up until this point, kind of thought these things were not fake, but maybe kind of. I didn't really know if they existed or not. Like there's this, do they not? And so I get this box. It's got this really cool letter. Talks about, you've done something very few people have ever done. And it's written, from the CEO of YouTube. And then they give you this, fancy little plaque. And, to some people on here, this may be nothing, garbage, stupid, whatever. To me, it signifies everything that I wanted to do in my goal of helping 100,000 people. Now, it's not to say that just because I got 100,000 subscribers that I helped every single one of you. That's not my point. But in the time that I clicked to tell YouTube this is who I am, and the time that I received this, the subscriptions have literally gone from, I think, 104,000 to 215 or something like that, or 210, I don't know. But my point here is there's a lot of people on YouTube that are absolutely diehard trying to get subscriptions because they're using it as a career or they're trying to gain money or whatever. That was never my intent. My intent was, how can I come on here and have fun as a hobby to kind of get away from my day-to-day job, but also do what I wanted to do and maybe possibly help people that are watching. And so this channel has been really, really fun for me. It's been a good outlet, and I apologize for not being steady and consistent. I'm not a global YouTuber. It was never my quest to go out and do. And so sometimes it takes a minute between videos, and sometimes they're really awesome to the viewers, and sometimes they totally suck to the viewer. You never really know. But I wanted, because of the age range that most of you guys as subscribers are, I wanted to challenge you on something. I had recently, we were doing a video shoot, or a photo shoot with the M4 that I built, because it's getting ready to go into a magazine. And when he was out here, he was telling me this story, my photographer, that his son, who I believe was 8 years old, was having some kind of issues, not with bullying, but just like acceptance, kids poking and being mean and all this stuff. Now, when I was younger, I never fit in, really. I wouldn't say I was necessarily bullied, but I wasn't like overly liked by anybody, because I never really cared to try and be like everybody else. I've always been a little bit different. It's just who I am. But he was telling me this story about all the kids thought he was, not as cool, or he wasn't doing these things, and because he didn't play on I think it was like social media or something, or he didn't have all these video games, he wasn't like up to date in the Minecraft world. And I'm not knocking on these things, I'm just saying that because he wasn't doing what the other kids were doing, they kind of looked down on him. And so he went out and he taught his kid how to do a burnout in a car, which to me, I'm like instantly very all about that, right? And it's just because of who I am. I'm a car guy. A lot of parents will think, well, that's stupid, that's terrible, that's unsafe, it's all these different things. Like, unless you know the circumstances, don't be the judgmental person. But my point here is, he went out and gave his son this everlasting awesome memory that he's terrified to share, which rightfully so, because we're such a judgmental society. You can't do anything that you could, years ago without being scolded or tattled or thrown to jail or whatever. But my point is this: although it was videotaped, and although it was an incredible memory, his son then goes to school and was like, oh man, I did this and I did this, and all the kids are like, yeah, right, you didn't do that, it wasn't videotaped, if there's no proof, it never happened. And he told his son something that I think is absolutely magical, and I think that it's something that all of you guys need to understand. It's a lesson that I, even with my daughter being 3, try to teach her, that just because the whole world doesn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen, right? And that's a lot of my focus and awareness with all these homeless videos, with Alex's story, with everything in life. Good deeds need to be a secret or they're not good. Well, that's BS. The reason I did it is to show the world that you can still do good things, and everyone should do good things. But there are times where it doesn't matter if it's filmed or not. What matters is the experience took place. And so he looked at his son and he said, you know what? Those kids don't need to see that it happened, because you know that it happened, right? And he's like, well, yeah. This is sometimes the biggest lesson I think that kids or youth can learn, is you don't have to go out of your way to prove it. You don't have to prove it to anybody. If you know that what you're doing is good, if you know that what you're doing is your purpose, if it's your passion, if it's your calling, then it doesn't matter what the other kids think, right? It doesn't matter what they think, what they say, how they treat you, whether they call you a liar, whether they think you're stupid because you're not doing what they're doing. It's not about fitting in the world. It really isn't. It's about doing what you love to do because it makes you happy. And if you can do that, guys, I'm telling you right now, all the kids on the playground will eventually go off and find other kids to pick on. They'll go grow up and find other kids to pick on because they never realize it themselves. While they go and they try and do what the rest of the world is telling them to do, they kind of forgot to focus on what they wanted to do, and eventually they die. And the only regret is, I should have lived for me instead of living for the rest of the world. So my point here is this, guys. I wanted to just say thank you to all of you for helping us get to this milestone. And obviously, the new goal became 1 million people, and then the new goal became 10 million people, and then 100 million people. I don't know if I'm helping you guys. I really don't. I know that I'm definitely doing enough to piss people off, so that means you're usually doing something good. So to my haters, cheers, and to my lovers, cheers. But to those of you guys that are subscribing, and those of you that are willing to go out and live life on your terms, keep doing that, because that's what's going to get you places. That's what's going to make you happy. That's what's going to let you find out what you're really here for. So here's what I want to do. It's $100,000 or $100,000. It's 100,000 subscribers. We'll keep this fun. We'll do 100,000 pennies. I don't know. So here's the deal. For every 100,000 views we get on this 100,000 subscriber plaque, I'm going to donate 100,000 pennies, which is what, $1,000, to any charity that I randomly choose in the comments section, right? So if you guys want to watch this and you just feel like you know an awesome charity out there, or someone that's extremely deserving, write it in the comments. And for every 100,000 for every 100,000 views, I'm going to go ahead and donate 100,000 pennies. This is a lot harder than I thought it was. 100,000 views equals 100,000 pennies, which is $1,000 to the person that you guys nominate, or the charity that you nominate, in the comments section. So keep doing you, keep loving the channel, keep loving yourselves, and we'll see you soon.